Welcome to Deadly Dames, and it's October again, and it's the time of year that all horror fans go crazy and start seeing how many horror films they can ram into the month of October. But this year, Claire and I have decided to do something a little bit different. Rather than doing the horror challenge for October and literally seeing how many horror films we could watch, we thought we'd try and do something that would perhaps help us get down our to-be-watched pile of movies. And this was recommended to us, do an A to Z of horror. Now, we're actually off on annual leave for actual Halloween itself, so we're not going to do this all the way up to Halloween. We're going to do it up to the weekend before, because we're going to have a movie marathon of that weekend, and then into the Monday, Tuesday of Halloween itself. So we're going to go from A to Z and see how many of our to-be-watched horror movies we can watch and review. The only problem is we're actually missing a few letters, so we might need to make them up with existing movies. So it's a J, a V, and a Y. J, Y, V. Yeah, J, V, and Y are the ones we're struggling with. So we might need to make them up with existing movies, but we'll see what we can do. So we started this last night and we watched A and B. And these were two movies which were sitting in the to-be-watched pile for I don't know how long. And we watched Amar and Black Cadillac. So Amar was a movie that I actually picked up because I'd heard good things about it. I'd heard it was like a modern Giallo. I don't know who said that about this movie, because it's not really a modern Giallo. It's an arty-farty movie.
It doesn't feel like a Giallo. I can see where some people might say that it's a little bit like that towards the end, where there's somebody running about with a knife and maybe it's her, maybe it's somebody else, but
it's not.
It's an art
Basically,
film.
it's a movie about a girl growing up, and you get to see 3 stages of her life. So like her as a kid, her as a teenager, and then her as an adult. And it kind of depicts like she's not had a very good upbringing, she's maybe been through some sort of trauma, and then at the end, that's her as an adult's the only part that's got a wee bit of Giallo in it. That and probably the colour scheme and the music. But it wasn't enough for me to enjoy it. In fact, near the end of this movie, we actually watched it in fast forward because there was just nothing happening in it. Now, I'm not saying that it's not a movie that people won't like, because certainly there's arty movies that I've seen that I actually do enjoy, like the Skin I Live In, is it?
Yes.
I always mix that one up with it's the Scarlett Johansson one I'm thinking of, because I always mix that one up with the
Under the Skin.
Under the Skin, yeah, because I always mix that one up with the Antonio Banderas one. That's the Skin We Live In, or I probably got that title completely wrong.
No,
but
right.
Under the Skin's quite an arty movie, but I still quite enjoy it. And I mean, Tetsuo, if I'm saying that right,
Yes.
is also quite an arty movie, and I enjoy that one. But I just didn't enjoy this. There was too much going on. There was too many like close-up shots of her face a lot of the time. It was actually very hard to watch at certain stages, because it was just they probably just thought we don't have much of a storyline here, so let's zoom in her face and just see her running and the camera jiggling in her face. So I was doing the example, that's why the camera was wiggling. But I just didn't enjoy Amar. It definitely, for me, it actually states on the back that it was, now where does it say it? There's a bit on here that says it's like, using the visual cues of genre masters such as Mario Bava and Dario Argento. Now, I love Mario Bava. I love Dario Argento. This movie's nothing like any of their films.
No.
I thought it was very boring. Each to their own. There might be people out there that really like it, but for me, it was a really bad one to start with. I was pretty bored of Amar. It's going straight into the trade-in pile. And then we watched Black Cadillac. Now, I picked this up in a charity shop. The main reason for it was when I was kind of like a teenager, like early 20s, when Global Video and sort of, what was it called, Movie Express and stuff, Blockbuster, and that was still around. They had a lot of really good horror films when DVD first came out that were really cheap. So you were picking up stuff like Rawhead Rex, which is now costs a bomb to find in DVD because it's out of print. You're picking it up for like £3 or a fiver. And they did loads of movies like that. And it's funny because a lot of them were quite cheap made movies, but they were good. And I remember picking up loads of films like this one, early 2000s, late 90s. And they were actually quite good. And that's the reason why I picked this one up. It was only £1 from a charity shop. And it kind of felt like it was that type of movie that I should have bought back then. It wasn't actually a bad movie. It's basically
I thought it was
about...
very good.
Well, it's... I thought it was good as well. It's basically about a group of teenagers who go to out of town to have fun, and they go to this kind of like down and out type bar. It's only way I can...
Well, they called it a roadhouse.
Wait, there we are,
So-
roadhouse. They called it a roadhouse to kind of basically just hook up with women. And when they leave, they pick up a police officer whose car's broken down, and then they start to get chased by a black Cadillac. Now, the main reason I kind of picked this film up, not just because it reminded me of the type of movie I would have picked up back then, it was because like I'm a big fan of the car and Jewel and stuff like that, and it seemed like it would maybe be a sort of movie similar to that. Try to think how way to say that. And
it has the same feel.
of movies like that, but basically the entire movie's like building on the tension of them being forced in different directions by this Cadillac until like I love using the word till the climax, till the end of the movie, where like the plot twist is revealed, which we won't say, we won't ruin it for you. It's not a horror as such; it's more of a thriller. But it was enjoyable. I probably wouldn't watch it again. It's one of those movies that once you know how the plot ends, you probably wouldn't watch it again. But you never know. Might see it on TV or Netflix or something like that in years to come and I've forgot how it ends. But yeah, it was actually quite enjoyable. The acting wasn't bad. There was no dodgy CGI considering it was the early 2000s. But I enjoyed it. You quite enjoyed it as well.
I really liked it.
Excuse me.
Probably what I liked about it most of all is that it had a similar feel to, as Mandy was saying, The Car and Jewel, but it didn't rip them off, so it had a similar feel but without actually copying them.
Yeah, I liked that. And it was certainly better than Armour.
A hell of a lot better than Armour.
But next up is C, and believe it or not, in our whole to be watched pile we only had one DVD beginning with C, but crap loads beginning with A, B and S, loads of them, so it was difficult sort of finding them. Strangely had an X and a Q, which we were like, and a Z, we had a Z, I was like, okay, but well I suppose you get loads of zombie movies, but I don't think it's actually, no it's not a zombie movie, the one that we've got in Z.
Is it not?
No.
Oh.
But as I said, we are missing a few letters: J, U, and Y. And then no, J, V, and Y. It is. And V, I was really annoyed about because we actually watched Voice in the Stone yesterday. I was like, damn it! See if I'd just held off watching it, I could have had that as my V. But oh well, too late now. So we might, as I said, we might need to watch something we've already seen. I might see if I can find an Arrow or an 88 or something like that we've not watched yet that's got those letters. I cannot find or anything, well, from what I've looked at so far, with a Y. So if any of you guys can think of a horror film that begins with Y, please let me know. I know there's loads of Yeti ones, but I don't own any of them. And let me know what you found. It's a horror film that begins with Y, so that we can
Young
watch.
Frankenstein. I know it's not really a
That's
horror.
a comedy.
It's kind of horror comedy.
It's a comedy.
It's not a horror.
No. But if anybody can think of a horror film that begins with a Y, let us know so that we can actually complete this alphabet. But the one movie that begins with C is terrible looking. So we're going to try and get that done and out of the way as quick as possible. Anyway, if you like our idea of trying to get through the mega to be watch pile by doing an A to Z in October of horror films, let us know. Leave some comments below, and as always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and take care.